welcome to the JIGME KELSANG podcast show. My name is JIGME KELSANG. Each week you'll hear fascinating conversations as well as stories from many professionals from a broad range of fields and experiences they've had. On today's episode, I have the great pleasure to chat with Ian Flanigan. Ian is a singer-songwriter, a true professional, and who's also no stranger to the music industry, especially when it comes to the world of country music. He's with me now to talk more about it. Welcome, Ian.
Hey, good morning. Thanks so much for having me here.
Good morning. Well, I mean, it's great to have you with someone that has such great experiences and great stories. I would hope so, while being on The Voice, and having all these sort of journeys and all these different pathways that now has opened for you after that competition. And we're going to talk about that. But can you talk to me more about the experiences of living in a motorhome and how those experiences sort of shaped you?
Oh, yeah. When I first started music, I'm from the Northeast in upstate New York, and that's what really inspired living full time on the road because winter comes and all the tours go away for 6 to 8 months. So, really, I'll cut to the chase. We sold everything and bought a 24-foot Winnebago. And throughout that next 2 years is really when we learned about living in an RV and on the road. Really, what it comes down to is how often you need to travel and how much space you absolutely need to kind of get through your day to day. We would stay at state parks or campgrounds, and in trade, we would work there for a free place to live. So that's kind of how we navigated the country while on tour. And then every state I would drive out because we towed a Honda Accord behind us. So for us, it was really kind of just like, which state can we hit up, 5, 10 shows or whatever will have us and keep moving. And the whole time we were raising a daughter. So it was really about learning how to navigate the country, not going through any tunnels that are too short, learning how to boondock and learning how to homeschool a kid.
Yeah, that's so interesting. And what would you say is the best place you've toured in sort of the motorhome?
Well, sadly, we didn't get up to the Northwest. Um, my favorite spot, I really love the Midwest and Southern Arizona and New Mexico. It's very, I don't know, there's just something about it that it just feels like a different kind of home. So for us, we were traveling down in like White Sands, New Mexico, and I'd never seen anything like that. We were boondocking out there. And I gotta say, we were campers, but also tour guides in the Sonoran Desert at the Boyce Thompson Arboretum in Superior, Arizona. We did that for a few months and fell in love with that desert.
Yeah, and you were just talking about sort of all these places that you've been through with your RV and living in a motorhome, which is not really ideal for anybody to go through that experience alone. And obviously having family there is important for you. And you talk a lot about it in sort of your biography that I was actually doing research on. And your your whole thing is so fascinating because you also do something called Flanigan Tours.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
and can you talk to me more about behind what the creation behind that sort of thing was?
Yeah, at that time specifically, we were really just trying to make a living doing art. We're both artists. It was, as being an artist of any kind, whether you're doing a podcast, radio, painting, comedian, musician, whatever, it's all has waves. It comes up and down. And we were during a low, we were just like, let's make like a little mini TV show type thing. And we called it Flanigan Tours. And it was really about just the behind the scenes of what it's like to renovate an old little Class C motorhome all the way to like different adventures we're doing with the kid. And it was just kind of our way of, I guess, vlogging it. And since we've moved into a house now because of the different kind of touring that we're doing and the different kind of work I'm doing, so we turned into just staying in one spot, and the whole thing for us was the adventure of it.
And you've had plenty of experiences. One being unintentionally auditioning for some talent scouts from The Voice, which I found pretty unique in itself. Can you talk to me more about how that happened?
Yeah, it was really, really unique, especially for me. My fiance submitted, she did a lot of my bookings on the road and a lot of the management, and I would go out and do the shows. And one of our last gigs that wasn't canceled by COVID was a open mic that she booked at the Mercy Lounge in Nashville. And I guess it was like voice themed, but if you ever been to Nashville, you know that that wouldn't be like anything shocking. There's like something themed everywhere. And so we go to do this open mic with the house band, and at that time, we really were down to like 80 bucks and just not doing very well on the tour. We got everything canceled. So it was the last gig of the tour, last dollars. And after I got done playing, there was a guy, he came back up to us and said, "Hey, I work with The Voice and, would really love to get you in as an alternate for this season." And it kind of just happened just like that. It was not really planned. And I had no idea that was happening. But after that, he was like, "Hey, go home, send a video in, and we'll get you going on this season if you're interested." And not on it, but in the running to audition. So that's how mine worked. I know a lot of people, I've heard a bunch of different ways, and now they do it all online. So technically, it's, I guess, kind of the same as the way they're doing it now, is videos.
Hmm. And certainly, in remaining on the topic of the voice, in your audition, I remember hearing your voice for the first time, and I couldn't believe what I was hearing. You had this unique, raspy, gravelly, or whiskey cigarette tone, as most people would know you as. Can you talk to me more how you grown that type of tone in your voice?
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking about it not too long ago, and I was just with my uncles this past weekend, and man, they're like the raspiest guys I've ever heard on this earth. And I think it's just kind of a genetic thing to some degree. And then the other side is, I honestly started working in dive bars, singing for hours, being paid in cigarettes and booze since I was 17. And I think that has a little bit to do with it. But I keep working on trying to keep it as clear as possible so it doesn't get too raspy.
Man, it's so unique. Um, and you were singing "Colder Weather" by the Zach Brown Band as your audition song, and I mean, there isn't a voice like yours that we've heard in a long time, and I know Blake probably talked about it, and he talked about the beer gut, um, and then having your gravelly tone come out of that body, and you're like, oh my goodness, who is this guy, and why isn't he not signed to a label yet? And so that brings me to the
Thanks.
point of, you worked with Blake because you're on Team Blake. Can you talk to me more about that experience?
Well, thank you. I appreciate the kind words, man. Working with Blake was something I had never seen coming in my life. I can't tell you how much I was just an independent artist, never looking for that kind of stuff. I guess I didn't really believe in myself at the time that I could do it. But working with Blake, he really he kind of just told me and helped me embrace my authenticity and my originality. I think I've always been trying to fit in a little bit better, sing a little higher, not be as super rasped out as I am. And he really had me just lean into it and just kind of be myself and not overthink that stuff. And I remember one time we switched songs and I did Angel by Sarah McLachlan. I was like, man, I don't know if any of these, it's not really like a high energy song, no high notes. And he's like, nobody's expecting high notes from you. And I was like, oh man, I don't have to worry about beating the highest note out here. And that I don't know, he just really helped me kind of not worry about a lot of the stuff I was worried about.
Hmm. And I have to get your opinion on this because I know that Blake just recently announced that he's brought back the mullet. Give me your thoughts on that.
Oh, I love the mullet. I used to have my own version of a mullet growing up, but no, I think that Blake can rock the mullet like no other, so he should embrace it.
Yeah, and I remember on his album that when he released All Red on that album, that mullet was still there, and I couldn't
It's
fathom the thought
fierce.
of, yeah, it's so weird to think about uh, how old that
Yeah.
album was, and then
Yeah.
compared to Blake Shelton now, and man, oh man, now the times have changed, and now you're working with Blake, and you talked about and the experiences on The Voice. And but can you talk to me more about the song "Grow Up" with Blake Shelton and how that came to be?
Sure. So yeah, Blake's records have just been evolving over the years. They're amazing. Um, I gotta say, I got off that show. So I got to the finale of The Voice, and when the a fun fact about that show is when you are done with the finale, you're basically on a plane first thing in the morning, and then a couple days later, the next season is showing up. So it's a quick goodbye. And I actually flew back to Orlando, or close to Orlando, where my family had been camping, and we were back on tour the next night, and we were actually playing in Orlando at an Old Red like the next night, and it was pretty cool. Had a bunch of awesome people came out, and then we just kept touring from there. So basically, I was at McKinney State Falls in Texas, I think a week after on that tour, and that's where I got a call from Reviver Music, and they wanted to assign me to a single. So I said yes. We went through picking different singles, wrote a couple, ended up finding Grow Up, and was just like, let's cut this song. Sent it to Blake to be like, hey man, what do you think? And he honestly got back and was just like, hey buddy, I love this song. What do you think if I jump on it? And that's kind of it. He was an amazing guy. He follows through with what he says. He didn't, he showed up in Nashville at Starstruck Entertainment, and we cut that song probably 2 weeks after that text. So it happened real fast. And that's where I got nothing but gratitude for that guy and the whole team.
Mhm. And speaking of collection of records and stuff that you guys were making, but while on The Voice, you've had the chance to cover a few songs and release studio versions of those songs. If you were to choose the best song that you covered on The Voice, which one would it be and why?
Oh, well, I do really like In Color by Jamie Johnson. I gotta say, the band and I love playing that one every night. It's just such a great story that I gotta say that, but also they let me do my own version of To Make You Feel My Love on that show. And feel like I really got to, kind of show a little bit more of my arrangement on that one. So both of those, I'd say.
Hmm. And in color was so beautiful because there was this video that I saw with The Voice, and it was so cool that they filmed it first in black and white, and then they showed all these pictures of you and your family and sort of the experiences and the journey and the steps you took in order to get to where you are today, and then it lit up the stage into color, and it brought you back into that phase where now it's focused more on now and the present moment. And so when you look back on that moment, what do you think about yourself?
Man, I remember, and it's very similar to the original music video that's out there of Jamie's. But I remember walking on that stage, and at this point, I had been away from home for like 6 months, and I walked out on stage, and then I'm like on this platform, and I look down, and I just start seeing like hundreds of photos of my family and everything, and it was I just remember that moment being like really, really intense for me because I'd been away for so long, and it was really nice to just see on that stage exactly what I'm doing all this for. So for me, it was probably a bigger gift than NBC ever thought they were doing for somebody at that time because they were setting a stage. But really, it was like a really great reminder of why we're all here because of the people that bring us here. We're not all alone, and so it made me very grateful.
Hmm. And on the topic of records, you recently released a song called "Last Name on It," which I
Yes.
love. Which I love. It's a great song. And can you talk to me more behind the creation of that song, how it came to be?
Sure. So, last name on it was a co-write between myself, Ryan Rossabo, and Barrett Baber here in Nashville. There are a couple buddies of mine that we got to write together, and that was actually the first time we ever got together. And I've been engaged for about 2 years, and I'm always trying to make the next song for her or whatever. And Barrett is married, and we all kind of were just sitting together throwing ideas around, and Ryan had that groove, this guitar groove, and we just kind of rolled with an idea that got tossed in a hat. And honestly, that we wrote that song in probably 2 hours and recorded it there that same day. And Ryan Rossabo was the producer on it. So he actually just kind of went in, did his magic, and at the end of the day, we actually had that whole song. So we ended up having it remixed by Craig Alvin later down the road to blend in with the record a little more. But honestly, that song was just a real fun, heartfelt sing along song for your person, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And, also while doing research on it, and I want to bring this back to your family focused topic. I kept noticing when I was looking at your biography, there was one word that kept coming up, and that word was faith. And I want to know, keeping, I know that faith, the word faith, makes your family stay strong and remain more grounded than ever before. Why do you feel that that word in specific has so much importance regarding in your life?
I think faith, doesn't have to be tied to any kind of, I think it gets overplayed with just any kind of religion. As much as you can have faith in your family, you can have faith in yourself, you can have so much faith in the world. And I think that faith and hope is that kind of just unwavering belief. And you got to be able to tap into that in order to do these kinds of things in life, to be able to, especially with just succeeding in the world these days. It's like you have to have more faith than reward. You have to have faith through 1,000 rejections that next one's going to come through. So for me, I know that there are certain things we've done that we have a perspective where we can change, like leaving everything and living in a van in pursuit of a music career. You got to have faith. Otherwise you won't do it, because if you reason with it, it's a bad move. So a lot of times you got to run on faith. And for me, it's definitely brought us where we are.
Hmm. And my second last question is, you recently announced your upcoming album called Strong. It's 11 tracks and it's due to come out on September 2nd. What can you tell me, your fans, or the listeners and viewers about this new record?
Oh, I'm just so excited to get it out to everybody, and just I hope so much that it makes people feel good when they hear it. It's a chronicle of different producers and different stories, and it kind of is part of my journey. And really, I'm just in this business and making records and making music because I love connecting with people, and I just hope that people feel good when they listen to this record.
Hmm. And I have to ask everybody this, and I've asked the past three guests that I've had, and it's probably super random, but if you were to give me your top five list of Nashville eateries, what would they be?
Nashville eateries. It's so funny because I probably haven't even been out to 5 different restaurants. Um, Let me see. I'm pulling one up because I'm that bad. There's an Indian food place that I go to. I'm not gonna say it wrong. I go to the Chauhan Ale and Masala House a lot. They have pretty good sushi. I'm forgetting all their names. I think Five Spot Pizza. And honestly, I think that's all I can name right now. Oh, there's a taco place, Nectar. We go to Nectar in Nashville for the tacos. Yeah, that's about it. I live up in White House, Tennessee, so we got Colorado Grill, and that's about it. So I'm a little farther from there.
And I've actually had people tell me that like Milk and Honey is good there.
I've never
Um,
been.
Desano's Pizza, they've recommended Desano's Pizza in
Desano's
Nashville,
Pizza.
and
Yep.
Jenny's Ice Cream.
Jenny's ice cream.
Um,
Oh, I have had Jenny's ice cream. In man, there's a lot. That's the thing. They're not, I don't know all their names. What about you? Do you come to Nashville often?
I've never been to Nashville. I just wanted to really like pick their brains in terms of if I ever go to Nashville once, I gotta try these restaurants and
Oh yeah.
gotta
Well,
try the
I was
eateries.
on a plane with somebody the other day, and he was saying a place called Arnold's, and that's my next stop. And the best thing is it's right next to Carter Vintage Guitar, which even if you're going for food, you got to go in that place. It's the best guitar store in the world. You go in there, there's everything.
And on the topic of guitar stores, give me your top five list of guitar stores.
To be honest, I only use Corner Music and Carter's Vintage in Nashville because otherwise I use a really different kind of string. I use nickel wound acoustic strings, and to be honest, the majority of everything I do, I burn through strings. So I get like 20 packs a month, and I just have to order them online now because they're just not around enough. So whenever I'm out, it's either Corner or Carter.
Hmm. And I don't know if you're able to do this, but I was wondering if you guys actually could play a song.
Oh,
um,
sure.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, what song would you prefer to play?
Well, I could do the new single if you want.
All right, let's hear it.
You've got it all. Sure enough, got enough to make a man fall. Baby, I feel from the first time that you pulled me in. From talking to kissing, only one thing that's missing. Cause you can't have a song without a melody. Can't have forever till it change one thing. Your name from the day I heard it, one word away from perfect. Girl, let me know if you want it. I put my last name on it. Put my last name on it. No, there ain't no doubt. Looking in your eyes like I am right now. Got me thinking it's time to figure out how to lock you down for the rest of my days. Only making one little change. Cause you can't have a song without a melody. Can't have forever till we change one thing. Your name from the day I heard it, one word away from perfect. Girl, if I'm being honest, wanna put my last name on it. Put my last name on it. Your love snuck up and knocked me off of my feet. That's why right now I'm down here on one knee. Can't have a song without a melody. Can't have forever till we change one thing. Your name from the day I heard it, one word away from perfect. Girl, let me know if you want it. I put my last name on it. Gonna put a ring on it. And put my last name on it.
Yeah, I
Thanks,
mean
man.
that's Ian Flanigan's new single, "Last Name on It." It's such a cool record. If you haven't listened to Ian Flanigan's music, you're missing out because there's a lot of cool songs that he's been working on, and he's got a new album, obviously, that we just talked about, called "Strong." And why did you feel that "Strong" should be the name of the album?
Well, really going through all the titles of the track, you're trying to always think of what best encapsulates, like encapsulates this body of work. And really, it's just I kept thinking about the team and the producers and the musicians and how lucky I am to be part of this thing. And what it is a team. It's an army of people doing this stuff. So strong just makes me think of my family, makes me think of my team, and that's kind of what I wanted to put out to the world.
Hmm. Well, if there's anything else that you want listeners and viewers to know about what we can expect in the future, what would it be?
Just so much new music's going to be coming out, and really just would love to stay in touch, on social media and all that stuff, and just kind of growing together. I've been doing a lot of different mini series and all that kind of stuff, so it's a lot of fun, and just let's stay in touch.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Ian, for taking the time out to talk with me today. I had a great time chatting with you. To the listeners who made it this far in the episode, thanks so much for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed my conversation with former contestant in season 19, The Voice finalist, Ian Flanigan. You can find him on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. For further information about him, you can visit ianflaniganmusic.com. If you'd like to help spread the word about my podcast, please do feel free to share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave your ratings and review. Any form of support is greatly appreciated. Thanks again for listening. I've been your host, JIGME KELSANG. See you in the next episode.